Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new Crusaders podcast. Today I have a very special episode, but first let me introduce my co-pilots for this very special episode. First up, my boy Nemesis. Welcome,
Hey.
Nemesis. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing wonderful. So honored to be here and talk to this incredible gentleman.
And the next co-pilot, my boy, all the way from Critics, the one and only KlepCX. What's up, hermano?
What's going on, man? Happy to be here. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, what's
man.
up?
Been a long time.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is what I'm very excited to present. This man is a legend. He's a singer, songwriter, actor. He was an amateur boxer. I mean, this man has done it all. This man is completely boss. Who am I talking about? The one and only, legendary Frank Stallone. Woo!
Hey guys, good morning.
What's going
How are
on,
you?
man?
Welcome to the Crusaders podcast, Frank Stallone. We really appreciate you being here today and hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Talk about what you've done recently, which is a very cool documentary.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time in the making. It wasn't my idea. These young filmmakers came up to me and they said, "Hey, we'd like to do a documentary on your life." And at first I was like, really? I mean, at this point, I wasn't getting any love. So I was like, I was shell-shocked. And they said, okay. So I gave them all the names to all the people I knew. I said, contact them. And I wasn't there during any of the interviews. So when I saw the movie the first time, I was just as surprised as everyone.
All right. So I'm going to be showing the trailer in a moment. But, before you even watch the trailer, I'm curious, what was the length of time that it took from the moment that those gentlemen approached you to the creation of the documentary?
Oh, God. Probably 3 years.
Wow, 3 years.
Yeah. Took a while because there were a lot of setbacks along the way, like running out of money is one, and all the things that come with making a film, and it took a long time. It was a little frustrating, and thank God there was a company out of England that got wind of what we were doing, and because we had a lot of people in the United States blowing a lot of smoke, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Nothing happened, so they got it done. They got it with Amazon. Now it's going to be on everything. It's on Google Play. It's on iTunes, and pretty soon it'll be like all over the place. So we're really looking forward to that.
All right, folks. Here's a sneak. Here's the trailer.
I know exactly the day I opened my mouth to sing. It was a Sunday, all the relatives over at the house. It was an old Italian song. And I didn't know what the hell the words were. I was like 6, 7 years old. It was "E Combare." All of a sudden I just started singing along with it. It just seemed natural. For some reason it was effortless for me. I never had a pitch problem. I could just sing.
Please welcome Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone.
Frank Stallone!
In his world and his talent, he's every bit as good as I am at what I try to do.
He's a five-tool guy. He can sing, he can act, he can perform, he can write, and he can fight like a son of a bitch.
He was always kind of performing. He had this kind of theatrical thing. Frank was always kind of on.
He sings his ass off. Always did.
Frank has style and Frank has endurance.
He likes to talk a lot.
He can talk.
He's a force. He's the real deal.
Everybody knows, he did a little doo-wop thing in the first Rocky film, and they think, oh, that's cute. Sylvester had his brother sing a little thing at the beginning. And then you dig deeper and you find out, wow, this guy's a tremendous musical artist in his own right.
It was something I was born to do. And I was able for once in my life to be able to show people what I could do. This is the chance of a lifetime.
He was into music 24 hours a day. I knew that was his calling. He never quit.
I don't think the public took him serious.
People are going to be thinking of Sylvester Stallone. You just think of him as soon as you see Frank.
It's not easy because you live in the shadow, and every time you get a great job, people say you probably got that because of your brother. He didn't. He got this because of his talent.
He's gone through hell. I mean, they would put signs up, appearing tonight, Rocky's brother.
Rocky's brother. Oh man, come on. I felt like a complete and absolute failure.
Frank, I'm sure, knew what he was getting himself into. He just loved to play.
Seems like that beating I gave you last night must have rattled your belt, huh?
I always wonder what has kept me in this game. But, I just keep coming back to it. I love it.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's just wild, man.
My hair's grown out. There you go.
He had one head of hair, brother.
Yeah, an old timer. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it was really interesting, guys. You know, thank you. When I went to see it, I was as surprised as anybody. I mean, my brothers never told me, well, he's as good as I am at what I try to do. So that was a news blast for me. So that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
You know, watching that, I knew a little bit about your career, but I had no idea all the things you did. And as I kept watching it, this one term kept coming to me, and I wanted to. That was one of the first things I wanted to ask you. What do you say when I say the words Frank Stallone, Renaissance man?
Yeah, I guess like what Danny Aiello said, I'm like a 5-tool guy, you know?
Yeah.
Renaissance, I always liked old stuff. I mean, yeah, I'd say I'm somewhat of a Renaissance guy. I mean, I kind of live in the past and I kind of live in the present. So I kind of go back and forth. So, you know, I'm at that age where, you know, I was right at the beginning of rock and roll, the Beatles, Motown, First Man on the Moon. And now, you know, I remember as a kid, people go, do you know one day you'll be able to look at someone on the telephone over there? Yeah, right. So I mean, that was like, we had like a Bell telephone, you know, like, hello. And all of a sudden they go, one day you'll be able to see the person on the other end, which was like Star Wars to us, you know, but that's what happened.
Yeah. I was so impressed that you could do all of these things so well. You know, most of us would just like to do one thing well, and you can fight, you can write, you can act, you can sing. It's just like kudos. It was just amazing.
Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it.
Well, I mean, he's a Leo like myself. So, I mean, it just comes natural, right?
There we go, but natural ham. Yeah.
I have a question. Is being one of, to me, and I'm sure to others, like one of those pinnacle like songwriters in that time where music made the movie.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about how differently do you feel that it is now? Because now I feel like it hasn't, like, I can't remember the last soundtrack I ran to the store to get for a movie.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I get asked that. And the thing is, and I understand the point of it. I mean, so I had the script to Staying Alive. So I kind of read it, and then I got a gist of what it was. Tony Manero now coming back to kind of get his, you know, his respect. And I felt the same thing. I said, I've been in the business 19 years, had nothing but this and failure, almost here, then failure. And I wanted to make my move. So I kind of wrote probably the subconscious form. Now today, everything is budget oriented. The movie people aren't the same. They're more like bean counters. So what they do, I mean, let's face it, a lot of these hip hop guys, they make their records in their bedroom on Pro Tools. So there's no overhead. They go, well, okay, he's an up and coming artist. Let's find a place and throw his song in the movie because he has 10 million followers. I mean, look at Justin Bieber, got made online. He never went out and paid his dues. But that's kind of the world we live in. I mean, I remember as a kid, for $1 going to see the Temptations, the Miracles, the Supremes, and the Four Tops. Four groups for like $1.50. But these were guys that were really working acts, like the Beatles, the Stones, all these guys. It's a different world. If you look at American Idol, you've got 1 week to learn a song, and you have earphones in, and you still sing flat. You know what I'm saying? If you have a cat, you know what I'm saying? And you got a dance teacher, if you have a cat that's like been out on the road like I did, I mean, I used to play, people can't believe it. We'd play 4 sets a night, 40-minute seats. So we played 160 minutes worth of music a night and made with each maybe $18 each. You know, the band. We had 5. And our manager would take 20% off the top. So if we were getting $1.25, it was like less than $100 for 5 guys. You had to love it, man.
Yeah.
So but it was a fun time.
Yeah, I want to ask you because you know the belt Valentine.
Yeah.
You told us, okay, that's the origin of the name, but where did you find the belt?
Well,
I'm interested. I'm curious. Where did he find a Valentine belt?
Listen, I didn't have much money, and I always loved Western stuff because, we had horses growing up. So I always loved Western belts and stuff. So I went into a place in Philadelphia. It was an old Jewish guy named Rodeo Ben, and he made Western clothes. And I said, I want a belt, man, with my name on the back, Valentine. So I just gotten the belt, and the group broke up. And I said, well, man, I can't, I had 2 more groups called Valentine so I could save the belt. And then after that, when the group broke up, that's the only belt I had. I swear to God, I'll show you my card. I changed my name to Valentine. And I have my business cards when I worked, and that was my name. I swear to God. So all of a sudden, the girl hook up with me on Facebook and go, hey, Valentine, it's been a long. I said, who's she talking about? It's like 40 years ago. But that was my name, Valentine.
Too funny.
Isn't that weird? Because I was holding on to that belt, Jack. So that was. You know what I mean?
When I was watching the documentary, there were so many interesting things that I wanted to ask you about. But the one that jumped to mind for me was I got to know the story behind the whitefish. And how was the whitefish after you got paid? The whitefish, was it good? Was it tasty?
Yeah, it was. Well, shit, if you're starving, it's damn right. It was like that smoked fish that looks like it's like gold, like you see in a deli.
No,
They give you like $5 and like something to eat. So it was a rough gig, man. I used to play on the street corners and stuff in New York City. It was cold out. I mean, I'm talking winter cold, and people would throw nickel. If I made like $6 the night, I was good because things were cheap in 1970. And I'll never forget one time I'm out there, man. It's cold. It's winter. My hair's down here, man. I'm playing my guitar with the case open. And my brother comes walking by with some chick he just picked up, and he took all my money.
No.
He took all my money and watched the show.
I hope he pays you back at some point.
Hell no.
You better start charging from then on, and plus interest. Come on now.
Yeah, buy myself a house. No, but the documentary there's a lot of moving parts in it, as you can see.
Yes.
It's not a depressing. I think if anything, it's more inspirational than depressing.
It is.
Because there's no like whining. I said, look, man, it's like Tom Hanks said in League of Their Own. There's no crying in baseball. I mean, if you're going to go into this lion's den of show business, you better be prepared to get your butt kicked. I mean, because it's a tough, it's very rarely do people get an easy ride. Yes, there are people nowadays that don't pay the dues like I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't make it till after 19 years of playing every dump in the world. But
wow,
now, if you're a hot looking chick and you're on YouTube, bingo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that part at the end where you said, nobody owes me a living. It's like, I got knocked down and up, but I was just like, dang, man, you need to be a motivational speaker on top of everything else.
I would like to do that. I love being a mentor to people because, the thing was I came from a broken home. I had some issues and stuff like that, but I never had a mentor. Like how Rocky says, I never had a manager. Well, I never had a mentor. I never had anybody to sit down and go, okay, man, this is the way we're going to go now. I mean, if I would have had Irving Azoff or David Geffen or Barry Gordy, that type of guy,
yeah,
I probably wouldn't have my money, but I would have had a big career. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that was Jack me on all that stuff. But the funny thing is, if you look at a lot of people that are really big, they've usually got a pretty good team behind them.
Yes, oh, definitely. You're definitely as strong as your team.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, your story is inspirational. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to, because I'm a music guy. Al knows this. I'm a huge music guy. I used to do music myself. So I want to talk about the music for a second, because I was probably about, and I don't want to put any age on anyone, but I was probably about 8 years old when I heard "Peace in Our Life."
Oh, thank you.
When I was watching Rambo, and I remember that song always just sticking to me in my head, because I was one of those people that the soundtrack made the movie for me.
Yeah.
And it was my father who told me that it was Sylvester Stallone's brother. Right. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't know that. I want to know what was the inspiration behind that song, because now being grown up and listening to it now, it hits so much harder because of the story of the movie, and I want to know, where did that come from? Like, how were you able to bring that to that
that's an interesting story. As you know, in the documentary, you see me in uniform. I went to military school, and in those days, that was the thing, man. If you were in military school, now it's like considered like maybe jive, but back then, going into the military or being an officer was cool, man. You know. So I went to military school, and then the Beatles came out, and I told my mother, I said, well, forget this, man, because I ain't walking around a crew cut anymore. You know, all these hot chicks, I'm looking clothes. So by the time, I got my draft card, I'll never forget it, man, my induction. I'm coming home from a gig. It's like 1 a.m. And for some reason, my mother and sister are up with a Ouija board. And I walk, she goes, oh, honey, you got mail. Now, when you live with your parents, you never get mail. And I'm there, Selective Service. I said, oh, I knew it. I opened it up. Greetings. You are going down for induction. This was November of '69.
Wow.
So they waited. Of course, they waited until after the holidays. And I said, well, what am I going to do? I said, at this point, my oldest brother was in the military for 20 years. He went in 58. At this point, Vietnam was kind of like the movie Platoon. People were going like, what are we doing here? You know, there was like stress going on. So I went down for my induction and stuff, but I was really mentally not there. I was going through a lot of issues, but I still went down. If I had to go, I had to go. But I carried that draft card for 4 years after that. Any day, man, I could have got called up. And I was like, you know, I was good with guns and shit like that. But what was great, getting chicks, because the girl be like hem and haw. So see this? This could be my last day. I could be called up to go to Fort Pitt.
The ultimate pimp line.
Get it while you can, baby. Because, and I remember, and everyone was tense because, you know, this wasn't like draft dodging. It was just like at the point after the Tet Offensive in '68, people were going like, okay, we've been here like 10 years already. What's going on? But so it wasn't a draft dodge. And I mean, I had the card on. You had to have your card on because those days driver's license didn't have like pictures and stuff. So I'll pull you over, going, we'll see your driver's license and your draft card. Forget insurance, forget title. If you didn't have that draft card, you were out on a date, you're getting cuffed and going downtown. So, So and that's what you kept in your wallet. A condom, which disintegrated. Remember everyone? Look at that dude, man. Look at that circle in his wallet. And then one day, it's been sitting there for 4 years, and you take it out, it just dissolved. So you had that and your draft card. So but it was weird. I mean, so that's why I wrote Peace in Our Life, because I lived through that whole era. Yeah. I could have been that guy. And I lost a lot of friends. I had friends with legs. A lot of guys even worse coming back like cuckoo, junkies. You know, never kind of been able to get it together again. It's like the same guys you see like walking around with big walrus mustache and ponytails with their army jacket. They never kind of came back. You know, they sit in the trailer cracking a beer can on their head. So that's, but I could have been that guy. So that's what I wrote that about, because peace in our life, because, you know, at the end of the day, what did they get when they come home? They couldn't even wear their uniform. You know what I mean? Spit at them, baby killers. It was an absolute disgrace. So I was never into that stuff. I was always like, you know, it takes a lot of guts to do that. You know, it takes a lot of guts to be under fire. So that's why I wrote that for.
Now I understand why Klep said the first thing I said, hey, Klep, we're going to get to talk to Frank Stallone. And he goes, oh my God, I love this song. He sent me the YouTube video immediately.
I'm happy you like that, man. You know, I play that in concert, and all of a sudden it's one of those things like people go, oh, I remember that. And then I think Rambo II was a huge movie. I mean, big. It was huge. Yeah. I mean, Star Wars big type, you know?
Yeah. And that song follows like one of the best monologues, you know, when your brother is going in and he's hitting the heart, and then that song comes, it's the bow on the present. I tell you, it's the best.
Well, now that came up, I have to share this with you, for you. I don't remember how old I was when that movie came out. I went in the military a few years later, but I went and saw that with my family, the movie, and it was full of veterans in our local theater. And when that song came on at the end, all of them got up and started clapping and cheering.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's the idea. You know, that's the idea of it. And you know what's really funny? I mean, when my brother and I would go on, you know, he was promoting Rambo 3, which, you know, the critics were a little queasy on.
Yeah.
I remember we went on a military base in Germany. So, of course, Rambo is, no one can carry an M60 with a bandolier without a I mean, of course not. Things are heavy. Okay. So we're on but still, you're seeing like sergeants and lieutenants all walking up to him on the base going, oh, wow, man, can I have your autograph? Of course they know Rambo's not a real character. They would love to be able to do that. So dig it, man. So I remember I'm walking there, and to the average people out there, I don't know if you know, but it was a sergeant major of the Army, which is the highest non-com. There's like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
No, I mean, colonels get out of their way. I mean, these guys have been in it a long time. There's guys there, there's an older guy, and he's got hash marks all up his arm like that. That doesn't mean hashish, folks. That means and he was old. So he was the only one. Everyone was carrying a Beretta 9mm NATO. He had his old Colt 1911 Army.
Nice.
I said, sir, how come you carry that? He goes, because I want to. I go, well, there you go. And anybody out there knows, man, you don't mess with command sergeant majors of the Army. Man, once you start with that one rocker on the bottom, then it's all, you know, it's all in.
There is a funny tidbit that I did not know about you, you know, because you're also a voiceover actor.
Yeah.
And I did not know that you voiced over Thunderhoof from Transformers.
I did, and I had no idea.
That's so awesome.
I walked in, they go, hey, man, we're doing Transformers. I go, what, are we fixing something? I had no idea. I didn't know it was a big thing. You know, it's a little out of my age bracket. They go, you're going to play Thunderhoof. So I had this accent like, oh, you guys, you know, like crazy. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But the fun thing was when you're sitting in a room with all these other guys doing characters, and they're really professional voiceover guys. They can do anything. Man, I would laugh my ass off. I mean, that was the fun part of it all. But people come up to me like, are you Thunderhoof? And then I forget. I go, who the hell's that? They go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's a different age group, isn't it?
Yeah, but you definitely do good voice, because in the documentary, when you did the conversation between Sly and John Travolta, man, I was on the floor.
That was awesome.
That was trippy because it was Barbarino and Rocky. And they're sitting there commiserating. I go, hey, man, I've got 2 cents to my name, and these guys are like crying the blues. I said, well, come in my crib for a while, and then you'll be really crying the blues. And you know what's really weird? I lived in a rough neighborhood when Rocky came out in Trenton, New Jersey. It was a rough neighborhood, you know what I mean? And you never saw a limo in that neighborhood. So when Rocky came out, all of a sudden, all these brothers are hanging out front of the place, and this big limo pulls up. And they're figuring, well, who died? I mean, the only time you see a limo in that neighborhood was going to a funeral. And I come walking down, and they go, Frank, what the hell are you doing? I said, hey, man, you know, I'm going to New York. And they go, they picked you up in that? And then they put it together because they just knew me as like the guy around boxing, playing music. They didn't know that my brother was Sylvester. And then they picked up on it because very rarely in that neighborhood, you never saw a limo. You might see one following a funeral procession if someone got attacked.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But it was a rough neighborhood. But I got to tell you, man, I got on good there. I had a lot of fun in that neighborhood. It was just, you know what? When you're living there, and I was the only white guy in the neighborhood, they figure if he's living here, he definitely ain't got any money. So,
damn.
But I had a great time in Trenton. I had fun in New Jersey. I actually liked it.
Gotcha. All right. So,
are you guys out in New York?
I grew up in Brooklyn, Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
Where are you guys calling from now?
But I'm in Orlando,
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I live in LA, but I went to school in upstate New York, and my wife is from New Jersey.
Oh, yeah, you go. Yeah, we're kind of all. We got Wicked Pissa in Boston. We got Florida, and we got upstate.
Yep. So, all right, I know we got to wrap real quick. You know, I'm getting things over here. So, I want folks to, you know, check it out. It's available now on VOD, right? Digital, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Video, and more. If you've been watching at the bottom, you can follow Frank on Twitter at Stallone. Yo, you got the name first also on that one.
That's right.
That one. You beat him to it.
Hey,
That's
my
great.
stuff is easy on Instagram, Frank.Stallone, Facebook at Frank Stallone. I mean, because I can't remember.
And your website too. You have a website where your music is on.
That's right, man. I'm on cdbaby.com. I got my own guitar company, Frank Stallone Guitars.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah, I put my name in because I have no memory left from getting hit in the head. So I figure, well, if I can't remember my own name, I ain't selling nothing.
You gotta all check that out. He does big band music too, and makes
yes, the big band.
Shame. So
that's something too. Before you go, I want to mention. I mean, you worked with Tony Bennett, right? You did a song with him. You met Frank Sinatra.
Yes, he did.
I mean, you work with legends. You yourself are a legend. I mean, you know, and this documentary is inspiring. You were correct. It is that to me, because no matter what you went through, you persevered and you said, "I ain't leaving. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere." And that's what you showed me, because I have that stubbornness too, if you will, and you know that will.
You can't.
And he played with Ricky Sambora and John Oates.
That's right.
John Oates.
At 18 years old. Like,
I had a good life. Hey, first of all, I want to thank you guys that you're like, this was really fun because you were like really prepared. And some guys don't watch the movie, go, so I said, so you know the part in the movie, and they go like, oh. You guys watched it and did your homework, and it really makes it enjoyable for me. I had true respect, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. We were honored to have the opportunity to view it. We learned a lot from you in this. Again, I'm feeding, and you do have that mentor, you know, soul to you, which is great. And you doing this documentary and the way you spoke, you know, thank you. Thank you for being an inspiring person, bro.
And don't stop that music, man.
Yeah, the music, man. Keep going, but
we're generations apart, and you've touched me.
Well,
remember
thank
that.
you, man. I got to tell you, the way my dating life's going, I think I need that draft card again. God bless, guys.
Thank you, man. God bless. Stay safe.
All right, man. God bless. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Got it.
Oh, wow. That was absolutely amazing. I can't
fantastic.
believe it. So, folks, everybody, for real, thanks for tuning in, hanging out, Klep, David. This has been fantastic. I can't believe we spoke to the legendary Frank Stallone.
I know, man.
You know, again, folks, right here, you know, look it up. It is a very good documentary. We're not trying to push and sell it like because we spoke to him. It's the truth. It's a really good documentary. You do learn a lot, and you'll be wowed by the people he's worked with. Like, wow, this man been around and he paid his dues.
And it's crazy. It's like, because he's one of those guys that you know in the background, but you never know like what he's really up to. Just because you don't see a person in the limelight all the time does not mean that they're not working.
Well, before we came on, that's what I was saying to Al. Is like, it was just shocking to me that like the song from Staying Alive.
Yeah,
I never saw Staying Alive, but that song was everywhere when I was
everywhere.
Yes,
and then
it was even sampled.
You know,
rapper.
Really?
Yeah.
He was in Tombstone, which I love. I didn't realize he was in Barfly, which I've seen. I like. He was in Hudson Hawk, which nobody's seen. But I love.
That's a classic.
Yeah. So, you know, I was watching that, and we didn't get a chance to bring it up with him. And I was seeing some of those cult classics, those C-list movies they was in back in the day, and I want to check those out now. So.
But yeah, he's done a lot, through the 80s. So those cheesy 80s movies that we all love. That he said in the documentary how he's surprised, and now it's like people are digging them because there's nothing else good to us. Those are fun movies, and I'm glad people are finally realizing that's what the intention was.
Yeah. And the fact that he did all those different music styles, you know, it's hard to get one music style down and make it, you know, so that people want to listen to you sing. And the fact that he could do all those different music styles and perform with all those different performers was incredible. I wanted to ask him, was like, man, you do all that other stuff. Have you tried rapping yet?
Yeah, you know, could you imagine? That'd be hysterical.
I wish we would have asked him because I wanted to know how he had transitioned. Like, what did he love more, the music or the acting? Because he's got a lot of movie catalog. Like, he's in a lot of things. A lot of things.
He got over 75 credits. He's been on multiple TV shows, those films. I mean, he's been doing it. Again, singer, songwriter, actor, like the amateur boxer. I mean, I wish we had more time so I could ask him how was it to beat Don Geraldo Rivera. You know what I mean? That was fun.
Dude could fight, man. There's a little clip in there where he was doing some speed bag work, and he is tight. he could really still hit the bag. So I was impressed.
There you go. I hope we at that age could be, you know, as quick with those hands as he is. You know what I mean? That's fantastic. So, guys, again, I want to thank you for the time. I want you both to shout yourselves out. First up, Nem, shout out where we can follow you at.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Nemesis FC. And if you don't mind, give a shout out to ASAP's Comics. I got stuff coming out this weekend on ASAP Comics. So it's going live. So.
Woo. And Klep, go ahead.
You guys, you know what it is. You can find me at KlepCX on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. KlepCX. No dots, no dashes. Just KlepCX.
And there you go. And obviously, you can follow us at ComicCrusaders.com. Check out my extended podcast family at UndercoverCapes.com. And of course, you can follow The Real El Mega about anywhere on social. And with that, we out. Huepa, para que tú sepas. Hasta la próxima, baby.
See you guys.